Hello, my name is John Long, and I'm the head coach of the Thomaston Varsity Field Hockey team. This past season was my first year as the head coach, and I'm incredibly proud of how well it went. This team was a very special collection of young women who knew how to play the game the way it should be played, were ethical, were hardworking, just an all-around great group. My assistant coach was Suzanne Kowalski, who without whom I would have really struggled this year. She was like my right hand in practice and in games, and she brought this unbelievably calm presence on the sidelines, which really helped keep the girls calm themselves. I think that's something that Suzanne and I did really well, is we managed to stay calm on the sidelines, which meant that our team always stayed calm when they were under pressure. Also, Suzanne had to take over the head coaching duties for a 2-week period while I got injured playing lacrosse, and I wasn't even able to go to the sidelines, and she did a fantastic job both in practices and at the games when I was out. So thanks so much to Suzanne. When we're talking about the team itself, we had a great season compared to the years before, where we'd had losing records, didn't make the states. Our primary goal this year was to get back to the state tournament, see how far we can go. But also, a personal goal I had was to change the culture of the team and to make sure that the team always put team first, played the game with ethics and integrity, and was a team that people feared playing, but also respected. That was really, I wanted to create that culture. I think we achieved a lot of that, and you'll see as we go through our honors and different things. Our overall record, including the state tournament, was 11-5-1, and our Berkshire League record 9-1-1, which was good enough for a first place finish and a Berkshire League co-championship, which we shared with Litchfield. Another team honor we received was the Lucy Goodrich Sportsmanship Award. This award is really special because it was voted by the Connecticut officials, the referees. They chose our school out of all the schools in the state of Connecticut as the team who should be held in high esteem as a role model for how the game should be played, regarding ethics, respecting your opponents, respecting officials, respecting fans. And it was a unanimous decision. I'm really proud of that because usually sportsmanship awards are sort of reserved for the teams who didn't have a very good season record-wise. We were lucky enough to have a very strong record, a league championship, and also to get recognized by the officials as a role model team in the state of Connecticut. We also had some individual honors. First team Berkshire League, Alexa Kowalski. She scored 12 goals, which I believe, if it wasn't the number one in the Berkshire League for totals, it was very close to the top, first or second anyway. And we had 3 second team Berkshire League players in Kaylee Falter, Hannah Leone, and Aurelia Barker. I could have put up 10 girls probably for these awards. It was really hard to choose. But I think that these 4 girls sort of represented what we were like as a team, both from a defensive potency perspective as well as our offensive potency. So let's talk a little bit about some season highlights. I love the fact that we went 2-0-1 against Litchfield, who is the team that we shared the Berkshire League championship with. And that includes a 3-1 win in the first round of the state tournament. For whatever reason, Litchfield was deemed the home team in that game. I had a hunch because of weather that we were going to end up playing on turf. The game would get moved to turf. So we went and practiced at Taft on turf. We came up with a new corner. We played at high speed. We had a fantastic practice. Sure enough, the game got moved to Watertown High School's turf. And we went out and we were ready. And Litchfield wasn't. And we dominated them. I know that a 3-1 score doesn't sound like a drubbing, but I think that Litchfield only had the ball in our half of the field 2 or 3 times the entire game. We also perfectly executed a corner that we developed while we were practicing at Taft on the turf. It couldn't have gone any better. And when it ended up in the back of the net, the girls were so excited. Not to mention, it was freezing cold. Like, it was frigid. And these girls fought through numb hands, bruises on their legs from balls and sticks hitting them, and they really. I'm just so proud of that game in particular. A couple other games I'm really proud of. We beat two Class Double L schools in Newington and Danbury. In the Newington game, if we didn't shoot about 6 or 7 wide in that game, it could have easily been a 9 or 10-1 game. So we really sort of manhandled Newington. Danbury was a much closer game. It was a 1-0 win, but it was hard fought and showed how good we were as a team and how really these girls stuck to a plan. They always did. They would stick to a plan and they would execute. We scored 40 goals in 17 games while only giving up 22. Of those 22 goals, we had one really bad game where we lost 9-1. So just think about that. One game is 9 of those 22 goals. So, I mean, that any team can have one bad game in a whole season. I don't care if you're the best team in the world. So that's impressive numbers. We also drew 174 penalty corners on our opponents. That shows how much time we spent in the offensive zone. And that's a testament not only to our offense, but to our defense. Our defense only gave up 84 in 17 games. I'm impressed by that personally. We used to keep game-by-game records. We would say we don't want to let the other team, even in our circle, more than 5 times the entire game. And there were several games where we accomplished that. We took a whopping 201 shots on goal. We made opponents' goalies work, and some of them played out of their minds against us because they had no choice. We only gave up 76 shots. That, once again, shows how awesome our defense was. Our leading scorers, Hannah Leone, she had 23 points. The thing that I like to point out with Hannah, she scored 4 goals. They were 4 great goals, but she had 19 assists. She was involved in so many of our goals. She's just an unselfish player. I think she preferred assists to goals, frankly. Alexa Kowalski, as I mentioned before, 12 goals, 4 assists. 12 goals, I think that was at the top of the Berkshire League. She had 2 hat tricks this season. That's phenomenal. Aurelia Barker, 6 goals, 9 assists. Nice even numbers. She has unbelievable straight line speed. She heads right up the middle of the field, and the defense think they can stop her. She just goes right by them. It's great straight line speed. She also played hurt for a few games, and unbelievable courage in that one. Kaya Johnson, 6 goals, 7 assists. Another phenomenal sophomore midfielder that we have. She's great down the left side. She's really good at getting the ball into dangerous spots offensively. But she plays really good defense as well. So Kaya was very important in our scoring. Speaking of defense, one of our 5th scorers, our 5th leading scorer is Kaylee Falter. She didn't score any goals, but she had 9 assists. Kaylee is a defenseman. She was heavily involved in our corners, and it's impressive to see that those kind of numbers as a defender. So she was great at getting the ball to our offense transitionally after shutting down the other teams. And she was great on our corners. She got the ball where it needed to be for us to score often. Tied for 5th is Emma Sanson, another sophomore midfielder. 2 goals and 7 assists. I think those numbers actually don't reflect how well Emma plays. She's another one who's a great stick handler, good straight line speed with control. I think Emma's numbers in the next 2 years will be really, really high. She has a really good upside, both defensively and offensively. And I'm eager to see where she goes in the next few years. Our goaltending, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our goalie, Gianna Macenti, 1.38 goals against average, .723 save percentage, both really good numbers for field hockey. Those are phenomenal numbers, particularly for a young woman this was her first year playing goalie. We really didn't have a goalie. We had a few possibilities, and Gianna stepped up and stepped into the role and ended up being a phenomenal leader. She would speak in our halftime circles, but she also was really reliable. We could rely on her to make a big save when we needed it. Now, some of those Litchfield games, I think of some saves she made, and boy, we would have been shot without her, to say the least. Some notable players, because not everybody shows up on the stat sheets. I want to talk about our captains first, Alexa and Kaylee. Phenomenal leaders. They did everything that I ever asked them to. They were on board with my philosophies, and they helped reinforce those philosophies with the team. This team, I think, if you look at them, they're not only athletes, but they're really good in the classroom as well, which made them all highly coachable. Nothing better than having highly intelligent athletes on your team. And Alexa and Kaylee sort of represent that for the whole team. I think the whole team was really exceptional, both in the classroom and on the fields. Defensive players don't often get the recognition they deserve. Ellie Marble and Liv Thier were just stalwarts back there on our defense. Liv played what we affectionately call the pest position, which means she's in place to disrupt the offensive flow of our opponents. And she's such a pest. She disrupted everyone. And if they got past Liv, which didn't happen too often, she was all over the field, they'd have to contend with Kaylee or Ellie Marble, who were just unbelievably solid players. Not to mention our freshman player back there, Marissa Van Ormer. We just solid defense all around. Midfield, I already talked about a few, and I talked about Emma and Kaya, but we need to mention the others. Kristen, Mackenzie, and Ari, all were so important to our offense. I mean, Kristen had 6 goals, but they were also hugely important defensively. They understood our philosophy of defense first, and they stuck to it. They understood that defense yields offense, and so it was great to have so many good midfielders. By the way, they're all sophomores. Some forwards who I want to mention too, because I feel like they're going to be some really good. There's a good upside on both of these players for next year. McKenna O'Sullivan, she was there whenever we needed someone to go in, and if we had injuries or people that were just fatigued, McKenna was just ready right there, and we could go in and we'd hardly lose a step when she was in there. I think she's going to have a really good senior season. Poor Leah had a lot of injuries this year, knee problems, so she didn't see the field as much as she wanted to, I'm sure, but I think there's a really strong upside there. So while it's going to really hurt to lose Alexa on the forward side, I think we have some people who can step in. So at this point, I want to give out the varsity letters. We'll do it by grade. So our 12th graders, Kaylee Falter and Alexa Kowalski, also our captains. 11th grade, Isabella Guerrera, Hannah Leone, Ellie Marble, Alyssa Micenti, Gianna Micenti, and McKenna O'Sullivan. Strong. That's going to be a strong senior class coming back next year. Our 10th graders, Aurelia Barker, Mackenzie Fairfax, Kristen Fole, Kaya Johnson, Ariana Komenaj, Leah LaChance, and Emma Sanson and Olivia Thier. And we did have one freshman who ended up starting and played quite a bit this past season, and that's Marissa Van Ormer. So congratulations to all of the varsity letter winners. So let's get to the Coaches Award. I like to choose, when I give these awards, there's 2 people. I like to give one for offense and one for defense because, as I've said earlier, defense they really don't get the recognition because they don't show up on the stat sheet so much. But we have 2 phenomenal captains who not only were just the best leaders I could have hoped for, but they also performed on the field. They weren't just, they walked the walk. They weren't just these sort of, we're going to make them captains because they're seniors. That's not how it was. They took their roles seriously, and it showed on the field, and it showed in the results of our games. So the Coaches Award for the 2019 varsity field hockey team go to Alexa Kowalski and Kaylee Falter. I put this picture up of them because that's them holding our award, the Lucy Goodrich Sportsmanship Award at AquaTurf. And that was a really proud night for us. I'm so glad they came and we were able to win that award. All right, so let's move forward to the 2020 captains. Difficult decision. I conferred with my assistant coach, Coach Kowalski, as well as my 2 captains from 2019. and everybody made some really good suggestions. And we decided to come up with tri-captains for next year. And I think this is really going to work out well. So the 3 captains for 2020 are Hannah Leon, Ellie Marvel, and Gianna Macenti. So congratulations to those ladies. You guys are going to get ready to put the girls through their paces over the summer at captains practices and to continue our excellent 2019 season into the 2020 season. Thank you, ladies, for a fantastic inaugural season, and I cannot wait to get back on the field in late August. Thanks a lot.